So, what an episode of Tokyo Revengers. So, apparently, Draken is currently on death row. What a twist I was not expecting. When they said they were going to go visit Draken, part of me just had this feeling that he had grown his hair out, that, he had completely covered his tattoos, that he was like some kind of family man working at like some store, or maybe he was like a cafe owner or something of that nature. But him actually being on death row is just completely crazy. The fact that it looked as to the reason that he's on death row is that Kisaki guy basically ordered hits on certain people and basically put all of the fall on him himself. And that was just one of the things that was just so surprising about episode 13. I think overall, there was a lot of emotions that ran, really, really heavy and hard this episode, with just the fact that, you had Naoto and Takemichi actually attending Hina's funeral and kind of seeing all of that happened. I think, for Takemichi specifically as our main character, I think it's really going to put a lot of things in perspective for him, because obviously that Hina had passed away in his original timeline, but he never had any last interactions with her. He never was able to see her alive in her adult state. He was never seeing part of her family or seeing her brother's reaction. So I think that the funeral piece of this was extremely important, or at least it will be vital and important for Takemichi, as he's able to kind of carry that burden with him when he goes back to the past, to really, make him give. If he was giving 110% before, he's got to give 120% now. And I think that he has earned or found a way to be able to push himself forward and to do that. And I think it's going to be really important. The other really important thing that came out of that funeral, outside of like the feelings and motivations, is the fact that Hina's mom gave Takemichi, kind of what she was carrying on her at all times, which was the necklace that he and himself, his like current self, bought Hina back in time, and she's been wearing that since forever. So the last 10 years, 12 years, that she's been wearing this, she's been carrying that love literally close to her chest the whole entire time. I think that was really special. So again, we have that motivation that's going to push Takemichi forward two ways. He's going to push him forward from having to see and witness all that and be a part of it. He was there during the murder. He was there to see the parties involved in it, right? So he has even more fortitude to be able to push himself forward and to be able to save them. But knowing that she also carried this love with her for so long, and him being the thing or the catalyst that ended that is all super vitally important, because he was the one that ended it with her. It wasn't the other way around. But even so, she still carried this fire for him, 12 years in the future. So I think that's going to be a really vitally important, aspect, for when he travels back in time. The other thing was, as they're trying to piece everything together, they go and they visit Draken. Our boy's on death row. He committed murders. We know how. We explained that already. But he has a conversation with Takemichi, saying, the reason that you're being targeted right now, the reason Hina was targeted, is you have Kisaki, who his admiration turned into hatred for Mikey, and now he's trying to take everything that Mikey cares about away. And Hina and Takemichi are both on that list. So what's crazy about that notion is, even though Hina was the target this time, we have to remember the first episode. What was it? He was pushed, and he was pushed by Akun, right? So his death was a direct order from Kisaki all the way in the OG timeline to get rid of Takemichi, because he still cared about him. Now, the weird thing about that, right, is at that time in the OG timeline, when he gets pushed onto the train tracks, at that point, he had no ties whatsoever to Mikey. So what the hell does that mean? You know what I mean? Like, the first time that he gets pushed off the train tracks, he gets pushed by Akun, but he has no ties to Mikey at that point. So if Kisaki is trying to go after him because he's trying to take everything he cared about away, Takemichi has no ties into Mikey. He knows of his existence. That is it. What the hell happened? Why was he targeted at that point in the OG timeline? It's going to be a question that I really need answered as we move forward. The last part of the episode was really just focused on Takemichi, saying like, yeah, I'm gonna go back in time. I'm gonna lead the Tomen. And when he finally time travels back, obviously Naoto thought it was crazy, but when he time travels back, they're finally, there's some the frolicking that happens in the bathhouse, but they're announcing the new third captain, which I may or may not be Takemichi. I don't know. I didn't get the vibes that it was going to be, but at the same time, Takemichi's tagging along per the orders of Mikey, so he could be announced already without even trying to end up being the third captain of the Tomen gang. And if that ends up happening, then one of the pieces that he needs to put in place is already in motion. So I think this time, as he goes back in the time, he's going to have to be back in time for months. He's not going to be able to go a few days or a few weeks this time. He's going to have to be there for months to really solidify. He's going to have to go and relive some of his life back in time. And I think that's going to be really interesting to see on what success level he has, and then when he time travels forward again. At this point, the thing that I'm craving the most, the thing that I want to see the most, is I want to just kind of see him like just stay. Just stay in the past, relive your life, redo all the things that you wish you could have, so that you don't time travel back and you're back in this bookstore, DVD store, Blockbuster, Japan Blockbuster again. That's what I really want to see from it the most. Overall, though, really good episode. Like a lot of twists that I was not basically expecting. That twist with Draken being in prison, on death row especially. Him being in jail versus him being on death row are two different things, and I was not expecting that whatsoever. And then us finding out that, hey, the purpose right now is to take everything Mikey cares about away. And that's why they continue to get targeted. But again, that begs the question, why was Hina killed originally? Why was Takemichi why was he attempted to be killed at before if he really had no ties? I don't know, guys. Overall, really good episode, though. I'm excited to see the next one that comes up once we end up getting to episode 14, when we get to episode 14. Thank you guys for joining me every week for Tokyo Revengers. Put down in the comments below, guys, what did you guys think about today's episode? And as always, thank you guys for being here. Check these videos out right here, and we'll see you guys for the next one. Peace.